ivermectin begins to be researched in a very thorough way, they found that this ivermectin is very effective against a lot of parasites. And today, it is being used to treat billions of livestock and pets around the world. So that is a big economic booster for the farmers and for the whole world. And this drug really earns billion every year. They were called the blockbuster drug by some group. It's really a blockbuster because they really have got good usage and very wide usage and very useful for almost 20 years. So this drug is already successfully there for many decades already. And then it is one of the safest drugs known. When we talk about drugs, see, when we want to use a drug, the first thing that we ask is not whether it is efficacious or not. It is whether it's safe or not. So most people will ask this question first. And this drug fits the criteria number one. No question asked. They are one of the safest drugs available. This morning, Paul Marik also mentioned this, that the number of deaths is only 64, I think, for the past 20 years, and so much of usage compared to the limited usage of other drugs. Okay, and this is also in one of the WHO's list of essential medicine, and it has been given 3.7 billion times to people around the globe. This is a lot, see? And of course, this drug has also won a Nobel Prize, and Professor Otsura has won a Nobel Prize due to this work, and congratulations to this team. And the ivermectin proved to be even the wonder drug when it first used to treat onchocerciasis in humans. That means the usage has become more and more. This is something fantastic for one single drug from a microorganism. And of course, they are widely used in elderly and also in children. So there is a wide usage group, and this has been applied to a lot of countries, especially in Africa and Central and South America, to control the tropical diseases, the neglected one especially. So from here, we see that this drug is not any drug, okay? It's something special. And true enough, they found a lot of things after this. I will explain one by one. And to look at the molecular part, okay, we have to know this a little bit. Ivermectin comes from this Ivermectin, and they are quite a big molecule. It's a lactone, it has got lactone ring, and they are very, this type of structure is considered big in the drug development, and you cannot make it in the lab. It has to come from the organism. So same like morphine and codeine, they come from the plant. They cannot synthesize in the lab. And they are mixtures actually. There are two mixtures here. And they are also found in the ivermectin, two mixtures, but they work well. So we don't have to worry about the presence of mixtures. It's not isomers, it's compounds, okay? And they are in the program to make this drug a globally coordinated mass drug administration in some countries to eliminate certain diseases. So that's a big project, okay? And ivermectin has very wide therapeutic index compared to a lot of drugs that were suggested as supposed to be used in COVID treatment. For example, hydroxychloroquine, the therapeutic index is quite narrow. And of course, the antiviral drug, they are all very narrow therapeutic index. So these are not to be played around. But ivermectin, you can be sure that you are safe. So this is something that we have to acknowledge. And you can use in quite high dosage. So far, there is no report to say that a higher dosage can cause a lot of harms and all that. So when another thing that I want to stress here, when you look at this type of chemicals, they can have multiple properties. Okay, one drug can have multiple uses. Just take aspirin, for example. It can be used for fever, it can be used for pain and all that. So I'm not surprised that if you take one drug, if you say it is an anti-parasite, we should not exclude the potential that it is an antiviral or it is other thing. Because chemicals work that way. And another issue that we have to understand is that some drugs work synergistically. That means if you have another compound inside there, they will synergistically. It will boost the effect of other things. For example, like effect of the use of hydroxychloroquine for the zinc. The hydroxychloroquine helps to bring in the zinc into the cell and all that. So we talk about drugs, we have to integrate them. We have to look at the picture as a whole, not as a single molecule inside a cell. Because the molecule in the living system, they are surrounded by so many things. So these are the things that we have to bear in mind. Ivermectin has been approved by FDA, everybody knows, okay? But they are approved for these two diseases, onchocerciasis, and they are used for anti-parasite. Ivermectin is not FDA approved for treatment of any viral infection. This is the statement that all the big pharma is holding to, without any common sense that drugs can work with many ways, and they can be used for many other things. They are not thinking along that line because of certain reason. It's very foolish to think along that way, see? Because chemicals can have multifunction. We have seen so many already. So we should not suppress the good things that we can see in certain chemicals because of certain reasons. In general, the drugs are very well tolerated. Nothing to worry so much. See, nobody died in these few months of using this ivermectin. Nobody died because of ivermectin dosage and all that. And this is something that we have to look at. They are very well placed to be used as COVID-19 treatment. But are we ignoring it? I don't know why. Ivermectin were evaluated now. They're quite well evaluated, but most of the studies were ignored and were suppressed and even were lied around to people. They didn't give the real data. So this is something unethical. I look at this as very unethical. Let's look at COVID. What is happening? We know that WHO has named the coronavirus in 2020 as COVID-19 on the 11th of March. And the suppression of this disease has begun. A lot of people are working. People are only working on expensive treatment. They are looking at vaccines and all that because they can make money. See? So, and if you talk about vaccines, there are so much limitation. You cannot produce it so much. It's very expensive. Third world countries cannot afford. It's very unstable. And of course, the last one, and not the least important, the effect that it can bring to people. You are changing the people permanently with the vaccines. And of course, now we start seeing a lot of so many effects that is not wanted, the undesirable effects. But of course, nobody claimed that they are due to vaccines. It doesn't matter. But still, there are effects. And when you inject, you have pain for a few days. Why should you suffer the pain when you can take ivermectin, like taking Coca-Cola? So this is something that we have to look at as well. For vaccine, we still have problems. I don't think that we are smooth sailing with the vaccine. The strong infectivity and lack of effective therapeutic agents are the reasons why COVID-19 continued to spread. See, there is no effective therapeutic agents, and even you take vaccine, you still can transmit the disease, you still can get the disease and all that. So there is no end to the problem. But you see there are effective chemicals that can be used, but you ignore it. See, this is a very puzzle situation which I cannot explain. And to me, as a Muslim, we believe that for every disease, God said there is a cure. And now you see the cure, but you say, oh, I cannot use this. Isn't that very funny? Okay, COVID is not considered as fulminant type of infectious disease. You don't see people die every day because the moment they get COVID, they die. No, it's just like a flu. Everybody knows this already. A lot of people survive. But if the symptoms progress and they get more serious, then the problem arise. Okay, they can lead to a lot of other disorders. So that one we understand, and that is the area where people needs good medication, good health care, and good management in the treatment. And that is where problem arise. A lot of people die once they reach the certain level, a certain stage, the death risk is higher. So if you look at ivermectin, this ivermectin is able to address this situation. They can do this, but people ignore it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to stress. There are a lot of reports, studies, and even specific explanation, mechanism of action. I will give some afterward that shows that ivermectin is able to support or to sustain good life without going into the serious stage of COVID-19. Okay, to date, people use steroids, okay, for the treatment.